Okay. The Golden Sayings of Epictetus, 71. Friend, lay hold with the desperate grasp ere it is too late. On freedom, on tranquility, on greatness of soul, lift up thy head. As one escaped from slavery, dare to look up to God and say, deal with me henceforth as thou wilt. Thou and I are of one mind. I am thine. I refuse nothing that seemeth good to thee. Lead on whither thou wilt. Clothe me in what garb thou pleasest. Wilt thou have me a ruler or a subject at home or in exile? Poor or rich? All these things will I justify unto men for thee. I will show the true nature of each. Who would Hercules have been had he loitered at home? No Hercules, but Eurystheus, and in his wanderings through the world, how many friends and comrades did he find? But nothing dearer to him than God. Wherefore he was believed to be God's son, as indeed he was. So then, in obedience to him, he went about delivering the earth from injustice and lawlessness. But thou art not Hercules, thou sayest, and canst not deliver others from their iniquity. Not even Theseus, to deliver the soil from Attica, from its monsters. Purge away thine own, cast forth thence from thine own mind not robbers and monsters, but fear, desire, envy, malignity, avarice, effeminacy, intemperance, and these may not be cast out, except by looking to God alone, by fixing thy affections on him only, and by consecrating thyself to his commands. If thou choosest aught else, with sighs and groans thou wilt be forced to follow a might greater than thine own, ever seeking tranquility without, and never able to attain unto her. For thou seekest her where she is not to be found, and where she is, there thou seekest her not. 72. If a man would pursue philosophy, his first task is to throw away conceit, for it is impossible for a man to begin to learn what he has a conceit that he already knows. 73. Give me but one young man that has come to the school with this intention, who stands forth a champion of this cause, and says, all else I renounce, content if I am but able to pass my life free from hindrance and trouble, to raise my head aloft and face all things as a free man, to look up to heaven as a friend of God, fearing nothing that may come to pass. Point out such as one to me, that I may say, enter, young man, into possession of that which is thine own, for thy lot is to adorn philosophy. Thine are these possessions, thine these books, these discourses. And when our champion has duly exercised himself in the part of the subject, I hope he will come back to me and say, what I desire is to be free from passion and from perturbation, as one who grudges no pains in the pursuit of piety and philosophy. What I desire is to know my duty to the gods, my duty to my parents, to my brothers, to my country, to strangers. Enter then on the second part of the subject. It is thine also. But I have already mastered the second part, only I wish to stand firm and unshaken, as firm when asleep as when awake, as firm when elated with wine as in despondency and dejection. Friend, you are verily a God. You cherish great designs. 74. The question at stake, said Epictetus, is no common one. It is this: are we in our senses, or are we not? 75. If you have given way to anger, be sure that over and above the evil involved therein, you have strengthened the habit and added fuel to the fire. If overcome by temptation of the flesh, do not reckon it a single defeat, but that you have also strengthened your dissolute habits. Habits and faculties are necessarily affected by the corresponding acts. Those that were not there before spring up. The rest gain in strength and extent. This is the account which philosophers give the origin of diseases of the mind. Suppose you have once lusted after money. If reason is sufficient to produce a sense of the evil be applied, then the lust is checked, and the mind at once regains its original authority. Whereas if you have recourse to no remedy, you can no longer look for this return. On the contrary, the next time it is excited by the corresponding object, the flame of desire leaps up more quickly than before. By frequent repetition, the mind in the long run becomes callous, and thus this mental disease produces confirmed avarice. One who has had fever even when it has left him is not in the same condition of health as before, unless indeed his cure is complete. Something of the same sort is true also of diseases of the mind. Behind there remains a legacy of traces and blisters, and unless these are efficiently erased, subsequent blows on the same spot will produce no longer mere blisters, but sores. If you do not wish to be prone to anger, do not feed the habit. Give it nothing which may tend to its increase. At first keep quiet and count the days. When you were not angry, I used to be angry every day, then every other day, next every 2, next every 3 days. And if you succeed in passing 30 days, sacrifice to the gods in thanksgiving. 76. How then may this be attained? Resolve now, if never before, to prove thyself to thyself. Resolve to show thyself fair in God's sight. Long to be pure with thine own pure self and God. 77. That is the true athlete that trains himself to resist such outward impressions as these. Stay, wretched man, suffer not thyself to be carried away. Great is the combat, divine the task. You are fighting for kingship, for liberty, for happiness, for tranquility. Remember God. Call upon him to aid thee, like a comrade that stands before thee in the fight. Okay, I will stop there. And I'll begin again with 77 again on next one.